Alright, let me make sure it's recording. Yeah, it's recording, okay. Alright, so, why do we do these type of lifts? So what type of lifts we're doing? We're doing Olympic lifts with some variations, some background fundamental lifts, like, front squats, and also the deadlift, especially the snatch grip deadlift. So why do we use these lifts opposed to squat, bench, deadlifts? These lifts are good for building strength, but the one thing it doesn't deal with is time as much, where you're dealing with these lifts which require time, so you have to perform them in a certain amount of time, around 1 second. These lifts usually last, so they're really explosive, and they're good at developing ground reaction forces throughout the literature. And also you can also develop your stretch shortening cycle, which is very good for these sports. Almost all sports are dealing with the ground, with a few exceptions to other sports. What would you use these? How would you use these differently in the sports? Varying on the sport, I would say you'd use them differently. So, for example, sprinting. I know I saw Usain Bolt using the Olympic lifts, and what they would do is, because they're like his 100-meter sprint is it's like around, it was, I don't know, 7 to 10 seconds. So it's in that time frame. Well, the lift itself is about 1 second. So what you see him do is a lot of high clean pulls, and he does like several of them, like 7 to 8 reps, just to get that. Just being able to develop that high ground reaction force and use it for multiple reps, so multiple reps during that for a set, opposed to something for baseball, which you might want to do maybe 1 to 2 reps, because you're only utilizing that for like a couple seconds in a swing or a throw, opposed to running. So that's kind of confusing, but those are different ways you could probably program these lifts. Anyway, we have my sister who's a softball athlete, so for her, these lifts would definitely help her benefit for these explosion and explosiveness. So what we want to do is we're going to do, starting off with, is a snatch grip deadlift. So what you want to do first of all, you're going to have a wider grip than the clean. So a way to test it is to do a leg test. So if it moves up, you want to get your grip wider until it doesn't move when you raise your legs. So go ahead and try that out. So that'd probably be wide enough. Okay, so for the snatch grip deadlift, what we're going to do is just a regular deadlift, but with a snatch grip. So you're going to go down to the bottom position, and what you want to do for verbal cues is you want to make sure your heels are on the ground, and you can have your back over the bar, and also make sure try to keep your back flat. So those are going to be your verbal cues for the start, and go ahead and perform 3 to 5 reps. So let's do 4 reps. Go ahead, again. Try to keep your back straight, but you can be over the bar. Alright, so for that, I would probably suggest what you're doing a little bit bad, or not as correct as it could be, is make sure it's over the bar. But for you, you're kind of a little bit too low. You could be a little bit higher, have your legs parallel. But for your initial movement, you're doing this, instead of just like, so your back's kind of rounding a little bit, coming up. It's kind of at the same motion, stand up at the same time. That would be a correction that we'd like to make. So it'd be more fluid, and you're not coming down, and you're not bending down, but you're just staying at the whole time coming up. The next one we want to do is a regular clean, but it's a clean jump pull, or jump shrug. My bad, a jump shrug. So it's gonna be below the knee. So go ahead and pick it up, regular clean grip. So you're gonna have it right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna hinge all the way down past the knee and explode up with a explosive triple extension, like a jump, ankles, knees, and hips. But also you're gonna shrug with your shoulders. Verbal cue for that is gonna be to squeeze the neck. And another verbal cue is just to make sure explosive explosion of triple extension at both legs. So go ahead. You can do 3 of those. Alright. So what I say for that is you want to make sure that you keep the bar closer, bring it down the leg, follow the leg. And then for the jump, look pretty clean. A little bit more explosion, kind of really emphasis on the jump, but that was pretty good for your first time. And then I really emphasize the shrug. Actually squeeze the neck. But otherwise, it looked pretty good. So just fix your bar path a little closer to the body, more of a squeeze at the neck. But otherwise, it looked pretty good. All right, so those are for those 2 lifts.